Hello, hello, hello. We're back with another information video with SAT score, and today we're going to be doing the most fun ships to play in 2025. So if you guys are interested in these sort of videos, let us know in the comments down below. But let me know what your guys' top 5 fun ships are to play in World of Warships. And if this video does well, we'll also do it on classes and potentially on tiers. So definitely let us know in the comments what you think of these sort of videos. So first up on this list of most fun ships to play is going to be the legendary Shima. Shima not being only one of the most popular ships in World of Warships, and is definitely is for good reason. This ship is very maneuverable with a high speed, very strong concealment at 5.6 kilometers. This thing has a giant arsenal of torpedoes that do heavy damage, and they're also very customizable with how you want to play. You can do 8 kilometers or 12 kilometers, or sorry, 8 kilometers, 12s, or 20s, up to your fancy. I personally do 12s, but everyone has their preference on it, on how they want to play the Shima. But overall, Shima is a very strong torpedo boat slash flank controlling vessel. Does really good in that regard, and is also a good support ship as well. You can use its smoke to smoke up cruisers or your allied destroyers if you need to. But overall, very fun ship to play. Very good for all PvP modes, PvE. It overall just does an amazing job in its role as a torpedo boat slash support ship. What are your thoughts on this ship being the most fun ship on the top?
Uh, of the destroyer, she's definitely one of the easiest to play. And her performance, she can get some pretty insane games. Like, if you throw everything on the white line and dev strike a battleship, easy 90, 100k damage right there. And even if all of your torpedoes miss, you can still do a lot of important stuff, like taking caps, spotting for your team. It's relatively relaxed compared to the other destroyers, which are typically a lot more demanding to play.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she is actually the most popular ship to play, at least for like the last 3 patches. But I'm pretty sure she's been one of the most popular ships to play just because she is relatively easy to pick up, um, can do a lot of team support, and can even threaten even the most powerful of ships with her 15 torpedoes. Like even if the opponent is quote unquote better than you, if he just gets unlucky with torpedoes, goodbye, he's dead.
Yeah, exactly. Japanese torpedoes are the hardest hitting torpedoes in World of Warships. So yeah, if you get hit by them, you'll be dealt a lot of damage. So not a lot of fun. And they also have almost a guaranteed chance to flood. So you're getting hit hard and have a very highly chance of flooding. So you're not going to be having fun when you get hit by them. So this list is going to be a top 5 list. So the first one, of course, we just did is Shima. So the next one is also going to be torpedo boat. It is going to be the Jager. The Jager also being a very strong torpedo boat. The pretty much want to ignore the fact this thing has guns. Concealment is 5.4 kilometers, one of the best concealments in the game for destroyers. Maneuverability, it is also very quick. It also has a heal and a engine boost as well, which is really nice. And this thing has a lot of torpedoes. You get 12 torpedoes with 4 different racks. And it has a very fast reload on these torpedoes. And the thing is, if you have a Swirsky, it also makes it where per 8 torpedo hits, you get 5% quicker on your torpedo reload. And it automatically activates. So you can get a really fast reload on these torpedoes. And if you sequential them out, do spacing into the torpedoes, it's going to be almost impossible to dodge all the incoming torpedoes. And of course, with the fast reload, these torpedoes are going to be doing not that much damage. But they are very fast, though, which makes them very hard to dodge. As you can see, they have a 90 knot top speed, with the 7,500 being their damage. So these are very quick torpedoes with a very fast reload, but they don't do a lot of damage. But overall, you can get this ship for coal or doubloons, up to you. It is one of the top coal ships to get in World of Warships. Very strong, credit grinder slash commander, XP grinder, and free XP grinder. Good in all game modes, PvE and PvP. So overall is one of the favorites for those torpedo destroyer enjoyers. What are your thoughts on the Jager SAT?
He's similar to the Shimakaze, relatively easy to play. Um, throws out is a torpedo boat, very strong scout, but unlike Shimakaze, she just instead of rely on like one huge damage from her torpedo, she just throws enough torpedoes until they stick and hit something.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter how good the enemy is at dodging, like with those super fast torpedoes, almost 90 knots, they're eventually going to hit something. And your reload goes down to ridiculously fast, low reload times as well. Even better if you have Swirsky and if you hit if you already activated his talents. So basically a super hard destroyer to try and catch, and the amount of torpedoes she spams will threaten even destroyers, like even destroyers if they try to push into her.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is one of the worst ships you want to push into, even if you have Hydro.
Yeah,
So,
it's an absolute nightmare.
mhm. So that's why we commonly recommend it for anyone who's looking for a tier 9 coal destroyer. And even if you are not, and you just want something fun to play, she's still a very good option. Just throw enough torpedoes until something hits.
Yep, that is also true. So this is going to be number 2 on our list. Moving on to number 3, it is going to be a battleship. The number 3 slot is going to be the legendary Colombo. Yep, we had to put the Colombo on here. This behemoth of a SAP throwing spicy meatball machine is currently one of the top competitive battleships in World of Warships, but also is just generally a very strong ship overall. In all modes, PvP, PvE, this thing is going to smash whatever it faces, and we'll talk a little bit about today. So the ship has some decent survivability with 94,000 HP, 31% torpedo protection, with some very nice armor. 32 millimeters on the bow, lower is 60, same on the rear is only 32. Deck armor is 50, which helps it against HE spamming ships, and superstructure is 19. It does have a somewhat of a turtle back, as you can see here, which helps it not get citadel, but of course you still want to be careful, because if you do, if you're not careful, you will get citadeled and suffer. What makes this ship really unique is the fact that these guns the rear guns are through 360. So a lot of the time you're able to angle your ship like this, where the guns are pointed forward. And then if you see someone on the left, you just angle your ship a little bit and your guns to the left and have all 4 of your guns firing. Or if there's someone off to the right, you can just angle yourself. You just angle the gun slightly to the right and bam, there you go. You can just swivel them back and forth really easily. So this ship excels at being a bow and battleship. And you do get that sap, which does amazing damage to whatever it comes across. And the thing is, like, yeah, your bow end is like, oh, you're not going to last very long. Well, you got yourself an exhaust smoke. So you're able to sit bow in while watching both flanks wherever you're at. And if you start getting farmed, you just pop that smoke and you can escape. And it is such a amazing tool. Like Colombo overnight, when that unique upgrade came in, and the most fun is when you have the unique upgrade, which makes it where you have a slightly faster reload and a 6% dispersion buff. Now, 6% doesn't sound like a lot, but it turns the Colombo from a good battleship to an absolute monster of a battleship. It makes it where at even 20 kilometers or really far away, you can still do 20k salvos to battleships, cruisers, you name it. It's just going to be smashing whatever it sees. It doesn't matter if you're angled, bow in, aft, those sap rounds are going to tear into you and do a massive amount of damage. And that's why it's so feared. At this point in World of Warships, I can almost say that more people fear the salvo of a Colombo more than a salvo of a Yamato. So I'd rather stay bow in to a Colombo rather than bow in to a Yamato, funny enough. It's actually kind of sad at this point, but Colombo is a way bigger threat in just that pure damage output compared to like a Yamato. Like, yeah, Yamato can potentially dev strike if the RNG is good, but Colombo just has such a massive amount of guns that it doesn't matter. A lot of shells are going to hit you no matter what. But overall, Colombo is definitely going to be in this list. It's going to be one of my tops, but Colombo is just an absolute beast. You can get it for tech tree, and if you want to get the legendary upgrade, it is in the research bureau. But other than that, you can get this ship. It's not that hard to get. You just have to go up the Italian tech tree. But what are your thoughts on the Colombo SAT? Because I know you've been probably dealing with them a lot in clan battles.
But yeah, fighting them and not so fun. Now, playing it though, being able to send 16 shells at whatever you point at and see it do like consistently 20, 30k damage, that is practically unheard of for a battleship.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more consistent than any other battleship that what makes Colombo, well, fun to play. Also the fact that she's just overpowered as heck. So because of that, like, yeah, other battleships, they can have they have dispersion issues. Sometimes their opponents bow in, you can't really do much damage. Colombo doesn't care about all of that. You're just doing 10, 15, 20k damage, no problem, no questions asked. And of course, since you're so powerful, you feels like you're contributing a lot more to the match than other ships.
Mm-hmm.
So it not only like part of the fun does actually come from the fact that it's overpowered, but also just because that soup is just relatively consistent, does really well no matter who you're fighting. Like Colombo is just for that reason. Like if you're having a bad day and you just want to pull something out to turn it around, you can just take out the Colombo.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good it is.
Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, so that is Colombo. The next ship on this list is going to be a tier 10 cruiser. And let me know what your guys' top 5 fun ships are to play. And if you guys are interested in these sort of series, make sure to leave that down in the comments down below. And we'll try to make more of these series in the future on what classes are the most fun. Like say top 5 for destroyers or cruisers or battleships, you know, stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in those kind of videos, let us know in the comments. We're always open to video suggestions, so we greatly appreciate it. So, the Goulden Leeuw. I had to put this ship on here. It is one of my favorites. And it's of course the favorite is when you have the ship to shore radio with the legend, which of course is a legendary upgrade, and of when you have Conrad Helfrich on it as well. So the Goulden Leeuw on its own is like an average cruiser, but when you combine it with the unique upgrade, which gives it an extra bomb, so instead of having 2, it now has 3, and then it makes the reload faster, so it goes down to 51 seconds. And then when you have Conrad Helfrich, where if you get 50 successful bomb hits, you get extra squadrons, extra airplanes in the squadron that attacks, as well as the number of HE bombers increased by 1. So then instead of having 3 attack squadrons, you now have 4, and you're able to get more damage as you do as you do more damage. So per 50,000 damage, you increase your damage up to 10%. Is it 10%? It says 1.97, but I'm looking at it right here. It says 1.97, but I thought it was supposed to be like higher. Like
let me go double check here. You'll have to give me a few minutes though.
Nah, you're good. It's fine. Because it says it's up to 3 times. I thought for sure it was higher, but I guess it's a maximum of 6% bonus to your main battery and your squadron damage. So it's 6%, which is still a big amount of damage buff just for dealing 150,000 damage. The other thing is active upon earning Witherer, you get a quicker reload for the guns and a 15% reload quicker on your airstrikes. So you can do a lot of damage with those airstrikes and get the reload extremely quick when having both the Helfrich Commander and the legendary upgrade. So overall, this ship is a airstrike throwing machine. It's really good at staying near capture points. and around the flank sides or in center, and the bombs have a 13-kilometer range. So anything that enters that range is going to be getting melted by those bombs. Now, the ship itself isn't the most tanky. It does have a 60-second fire duration, which is quite painful to deal with. And it makes it where the ship is easily fired by HE. For AP, battleships will do a lot of damage to you. You're not that tanky, but you're still tanky for a cruiser standards. The guns themselves can sometimes be trolling, but the 283 millimeter guns and the 15-second reload is pretty long. But those airstrikes is what really makes this ship shine. The ship also gets a heal, a DCP, and a defensive A fire, which is really nice since the anti-air on this thing is actually really strong. With a 6-kilometer range, those guns really put in work. For concealment, this ship is actually pretty stealthy for a cruiser. So if you can't sit near an island and have to be open water, you can play more open water and just use your airstrikes if you have to and not open up unless you have to do that. But a lot of time you can use your 10.3 concealment to your advantage, stay dark, and just use your bombs to just punish anything that dares go near you. It's a lot of fun to play. One of my top favorite cruisers in World of Warships, but overall I just love the thing. It's amazing. What are your thoughts on the Goulden Leeuw SAT?
I do agree with it. It's average if you don't have the unique upgrade, but once you do, oh man, just spamming that airstrike is fun. And you can get your reload down to pretty good levels. So if there's an island camping cruiser there, it is in for a world of hurt. Just really, and you have that concealment to get close. So if you find a good island to get close up to, like, just start throwing that airstrike and people will absolutely hate you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And also the ship itself is not like a squishy cruiser either. She's relatively hard to kill because of that fast heals. So even if you take some damage, you can just spam out heals to keep yourself alive while you keep throwing airstrikes. That's actually not even the best of it. So if you get a div of 3 Goulden Leeuws, like what Bo occasionally does from time to time, yeah, you can send up to 9 airstrikes on a poor guy. And well, if you haven't seen the Goulden Leeuw short Bo's posted, go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, I need to do them again. I miss doing them. I was talking to Starboy about it. We need to do the triple Goulden Leeuw div at some point. I miss it.
Yeah, we need to do it again.
We
Sure,
do.
it's not the most powerful div, but oh my gosh, the amount of fun you can do, not for the victim of course, but amount of fun you can have is just ridiculous when you get that 9 airstrikes on a poor guy. And then if you have Heinrich, the unique captain, you get even stronger airstrikes too.
Yeah, imagine having 3 Goulden Leeuws with Helfrich on it. Oh my god. That's 12 airstrikes you can potentially do. 12.
Mm-hmm. You probably won't do it till end game, but just finding that one ship and launching 12 airstrikes at it, yeah, he is going to regret ever playing that battle button.
Looks like we have a plan afoot then for the future to find a third then for this div. Because you have Helfrich, right?
Actually, I do not. I'm waiting again for the commander to come around.
Oh, that is disappointing. We're gonna have to find a group then that has it, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, so
it's not necessary for the div to work though.
yeah, exactly.
And even if you decide to play Goulden Leeuw by herself, as long as you have the unique upgrade, it's perfectly fine. You can still drop on like unsuspecting ships and watch their health bar deplete. It is fun.
Yeah, it really is for sure. So Goulden Leeuw is going to be the 4th on this list. So the final ship or ships that are going to be on this list is technically a destroyer, but it's technically 2 of them, and they're very, very similar So I thought it was just best to combine them into the final slot. So it is going to be the Marceau / Kleber, the speed demons, the speed demon duo of the clan battle scene, or the overall scene of World of Warships. Oh, also for the Goulden Leeuw, I forgot to mention, Goulden Leeuw does good in PvP and PvP modes. So I forgot to mention that for Goulden Leeuw. But yes, it does good in both PvP and PvE modes. Goulden Leeuw does. So moving on, the Kleber, we're going to focus on the Kleber first, and then we'll focus on the Marceau. So the Kleber you are able to get in the tech tree, very easy to get. You can also build the Goulden Leeuw, sorry, not the Goulden, the Kleber for legendary, which makes it pretty much a torpedo boat. So you can build this thing as a mid to long range open water gunboat machine. This thing is extremely fast. It goes up to 50 something knots, one of the fastest destroyers in the game. It has a reload booster too that does a lot of damage to whatever it hits. You can do that with HE when someone does a damage control party. You can then pop this to make sure you get a permafire after, or if you have an unsuspected broadside cruiser next to you or near you, you can just slap that reload booster on and just Citadel cruisers with your 139mm guns. And that engine boost is a nice 20% engine boost, and makes you an absolute speed demon. And this ship does amazingly well at mid to long range distances. You can farm easily from 15 kilometers away on an unsuspected battleship or even a cruiser, and there's not really much they can do with you going over 50 knots. All it takes is for you to do a slight slowdown or a slight turn, and they're gonna miss their shells. So this thing is an absolute menace. Not even to mention, if if you build this thing as a destroyer hunter, which I don't recommend for this one, but I do for the Marceau, just imagine trying to outrun this thing. You're not going to be able to outrun it. So you have to smoke and pray that he doesn't follow you. And if he does, he's just zooming after you. And then this thing has 12 torpedoes on it, by the way. 12. And they have a very fast reload as well, and they have 8 kilometers. And these torpedoes do a lot of damage. So if this thing decides to yellow at you in a battleship or a cruiser, you're dead. It is a one-way trip where the destroyer is most likely going to die, or if he uses an island to sneak up on you, you're just going to die, and he's going to just laugh as he runs away and gets all of your health. But those torpedoes hit hard, the guns hit hard. The main weakness of the ship is the concealment, which isn't the best. And of course, anti-air. This thing's weakness is anti-air. CVs have a field day with this ship, unfortunately. So if you see a CV in a match, you know your fun is ruined. The ship does have one of the highest amounts of depth charges in its charge. It has 18. Insane amount of depth charges. So if you decide to do RPF on this ship, which you can, you have 18 depth charges to run after a sub, which, yeah, it's pretty hilarious to do because they can't outrun you. So you have a lot of fun with that. So that is the Kleber. Moving on is the more, let's just say, shotgun version of the Kleber. Out of the two, you can imagine the Marceau being the short range to mid range destroyer, while the Kleber is meant to be mid to long range. The ship is just as fast as the Kleber, has pretty much the exact same engine boost. It has DFAA instead of a reload booster, and the DFAA is very nicely paired with the anti-air. This ship actually has, compared to the Kleber, it actually has way better anti-air. It's still not the best, but it's way better than the Kleber. And there is a trick with the anti-air where you can kind of just instantly wipe out squadrons with it, but it's kind of like, it's very hard to pull off, but if you do it, it's very satisfying. The guns on this ship are Kleber guns, so that you do get 8 of them, and they're a very fast reload. And as you can tell, the shells are very slow with the 808 meters per second, so they're not the quickest. So out of like 9 kilometers, it's kind of difficult to hit destroyers as they're running away from you. But if you're running like in a direction you get spotted, you just keep charging at whatever your RPF is at, and if they're bowing to you, they're guaranteed dead. You'll be doing 4,000 chunks to them every 3 seconds, and there's nothing they can do about it besides smoke up or just pray that you miss your shot somehow. The ship does have torpedoes that are 9 kilometers, but instead of it having a really fast reload like the Kleber, it has a very slow reload. Legit double the reload time of the Kleber, so 142 seconds. So these torps are not meant to be like a Russian suicide kind. They're meant to be more like you use them at longer distance because they're 9 kilometers. So overall, Marceau, shotgun, DD sub hunter of the two. Kleber is more mid to long range that can kind of do the same a little bit, but it's more meant to be mid to long. But overall, Marceau you can get for coal, so if you want to get it, you can. And Kleber you can get for in the tech tree for free just by grinding the game. The legendary mod for the Kleber you can get in the research bureau for I think it's like 10,000. No, 20,000 research bureau points right around there. So if you want to play the Kleber more as a torpedo boat, you do that if you like. It's a lot of fun to run it in the Unbreakable line mode. The Kleber with that legendary mod's a lot of fun. Just fun, just yellow in and just nuke anything that gets close to you. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, these are my most fun ships to play in World of Warships. This is my list. And SAT, what are your final thoughts on these two ships, if you just want to combine it together?
You can even argue it's 3 ships because of the unique upgrade ledge club.
Yeah, that's true. That is
So,
technically 3.
yep. So normal Kleber is arguably the most gunboat of the 3. Because if you're high detection, your base and you're very good ballistics, you're literally just sitting at range, just gunning down anything, and you're unhittable demon in return when you're playing it correctly. So ultralight cruiser that can pretty much choose to be anywhere on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Marceau, it's kind of the better concealment, more floaty guns, and pretty high DPM. Of course, the issue is it's much harder to hit with those guns. And the torps are, I think, just not as good as the Kleber, but still very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Ledge Mod Kleb, which is literally F3 Shima, but going 55 knots.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. The reason why Marceau and Kleber make the list is just because ships go fast equals fun. That is simply the reason. Like, it doesn't matter if you're having a bad day or a good game or bad game. It's just fun to play. It's just fun to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's still more fun if you're actively dodging salvos like crazy. But it does. But even if you're not, it's still a lot of fun to just literally be zooming across the map, doing whatever you feel like. But when you do dodge, that's even more fun just because, hey, I'm literally in front of you, you can't hit me at all. And that's just a feeling of like literally superior, just basically outskilling them with your dodging is just pretty good feeling to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason why we recommend playing Marceau. Like, Marceau is a very commonly recommended coal ship. Just because she's fast, she has pretty good firepower, and she is fairly surprisingly tanky thanks to her French saturation. Of course, she is a bit on the harder side to play, but if you're willing to take the time to master the French destroyers, they are a ton of fun.
Yep, thank you so much for that SAT score. But yep, that is going to be it. Make sure to write down in the comments your guys' favorite ships that you like to play. And also, if you guys would like more of these series in the future, we greatly appreciate information as well. But thank you all for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.